name is Sue Parr. I'm the president of the Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce. Our vice president, Blair Marvin, was going to be with you this morning, but I had a hole in my schedule, as it turned out, and she had a couple extra things to do. So I am very proud to be here to represent the Chamber, and we appreciate the opportunity to partner with Heritage Academy for such a wonderful event today. Thank you. We are so pleased to be here today to help celebrate education. As we know, this year has been a difficult year for education. And to be here today to participate in a wonderful opportunity for the children of our region is just something that the Chamber is so honored to be a part of and so important and plays so much of a part of our mission in developing our future pipeline of talent. We all know that the education of this region is so important, and especially for those children that are very young. We know that early childhood learning is very important to the future development and truly the economic success of our region. So again, on behalf of the Augusta Metro Chamber of Commerce, congratulations on this wonderful opportunity to expand your facility, especially for the mission of this particular building. We understand that this is already paid for, so that is, especially this year, a wonderful opportunity. We look forward to seeing this come up out of the ground. We appreciate your support of the Chamber. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Eric Smith. Eric is the board chair for Heritage Academy. And again, we welcome him to the podium. Let's have a round of applause.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay without the mic? Yeah. I gave a presentation at Davidson Fine Arts last year. My son said, "Dad, you blew our ears out, your booming voice." So I'll try it without the mic. But welcome to our groundbreaking ceremony. I stand here with humility and gratitude that we are able to embark on the next chapter of growth for Heritage. I love Heritage Academy and its mission, and I'd like to repeat that. I love Heritage Academy and its mission. It's great that we can provide some wonderful academics here so that our kids then go on to the magnet schools of Augusta or get recruited by the private schools here. But not only that, we teach character, which helps these children have a positive influence on our community as they grow, which is in keeping with our mission. God has blessed this place with his grace. We are fortunate that we can now expand the mission of the school to impact children of an even younger age. As Sue mentioned, there are many research studies out there that show that much of our brain is developed between the ages of 1 and 4. And if you're in a positive, nurturing, learning environment, that can have a huge impact on the lifelong outcomes for children. And Heritage wants to be at the forefront of providing that environment. We want our preschool kids to grow up and make the most out of their lives and to have an equal opportunity for success in this community as they move towards adulthood. While we're here to celebrate the physical infrastructure, the growth of it today, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and just talk about the real strengths of Heritage, which are its people and its sense of community. My own personal journey with this is a reflection of that. I think it was about 10 years ago. I moved next door to Will Morris, and he invited me to come see what this place was all about. It was called Heritage. And so at the time, the school was co-located just down the road from where we live on Village Road. And I was immediately impressed with its mission and its positive environment. And they were about to move to our current location across the street, so I donated to the Capital campaign. We were fortunate to get this new building with a partnership with Clay Boardman. So being impressed, I asked Linda, our executive director, how I could participate more. And she said, "Well, we have a founding board member, Miss Ann Boardman, who would like to step away now. Would you fill her seat?" And it was a great opportunity. I had big shoes to fill, but so glad that I did. A couple of years went by, and Linda then asked, would I be willing to chair the board? to take the place of another founding board member, Finn Hitchcock. I accepted that, and I'm so grateful that I did, and that I can support this school in a leadership role. All these people I've just mentioned have a place in their heart for Heritage. It's really, and for this community, it's really a testament to what can be done when you place service above self. And I'm glad I can follow in their footsteps and help the future growth of this school. So thank you, Anne and Clay and Will and Finn and your lovely wife, Jan, who was the principal of our school. And most of all, Linda, for all that you've done to contribute to Heritage. And I look forward to the path we're embarking on now. And I'd like to ask Linda to come up at this time and talk a little more in detail about our plans for the school. Thank you.
So he's from Maine and I'm from Brooklyn. Can you hear me? I think you probably can. Before I proceed with a few remarks, let me acknowledge the board members that are here today. If you would, if you're seated, stand. If you're here, wave so people know your service to the school. There you go. Take a look around. The journey to today's event actually began back in 1985 with the Knox family's vision to establish a village of nonprofit agencies in this area. It reflected their love of the Augusta community and historic preservation. Fast forward to 2015, when, with the assistance of the United Way, Heritage Academy began the process of stabilizing the Peter S. Knox Community Service Association and the path to acquiring the property on which we're standing right now in order to build an early learning academy. Our board determined through a strategic planning process that the most effective application of Heritage's mission was to prepare children early in life to succeed by access to high quality early education, just as Eric stated before. Let me pause a minute and talk a little bit about a very personal side. I just bought me a truck. I have wanted one for a really long time, and I bought a new one. And it's cute, it's light, it's outside. But when I was investigating, I asked about all the bells and whistles that the truck had. Apple CarPlay, whatever. I never once thought to ask about the airbags because they're standard, aren't they? And airbags are not glamorous, are they? You don't buy a vehicle because of the airbags. You simply assume they're there because they're so essential. Early learning is like wearing airbags. It's not glamorous what we're going to be doing. It's essential. It's essential for the children. It's essential for society. Yesterday, I was reading a report that through this period of COVID, because of its most profound effect on the most marginalized children in the country, we will recognize a $220 billion deficit in the GDP over the next 3 years because of the lack of productivity associated with deficits in learning. That's amazing. So this is not glamorous, but it's airbags. It's essential. And we're stepping wholeheartedly into it. In 2019, we obtained the property, including the 1891 house right over here, which now contains our administrative offices. The board embarked on a $5 million capital campaign during a very uncertain period of the COVID pandemic. Yet, we believed that this was the Lord's timing because he had positioned us to do it right now. The property came into our hands right now. And so we proceeded. We needed a miracle. Within 1 month of the campaign to renovate the house, build the Early Learning Academy, and eventually the gym behind the school, thanks to the leadership of our next speaker, the campaign was complete. So when Sue says we paid for this building, we need $5 million has been pledged to the community. But before I ask this leader to come up, I also wish to measure another opportunity that has come in the form of a challenge to conduct a $2 million endowment campaign that will help to sustain scholarships at Heritage Academy. Several gifts have already been made, and as of today, we have reached $1.3 million for the endowment. Yes, you can. That comes with a $1 million pledge from our board chairman and his wife, Eric and Laura Smith. I guess he meant it when he said he loves Heritage. And now, for the rest of the story, let me introduce our next speaker, dear friend of Heritage Academy, Clay Dixon.
Down in the back, so excuse my posture. Thinking I was going to have to cancel today. But let me, first, I'm happy to be here. What a beautiful day. God has given us yet again. My initial involvement, so to speak, with Heritage, or my mission, the first time I got initiated to it was with my father. When he died in like 2005, but in the early 2000s, or even late 99, I can't remember when it got started. But he said, son, this is a keeper. This is a winner. This is a winner program. And he spent a good amount of time trying to find he said they don't need to get First Baptist or all these other kind of places they need to have their own school. And so we talked and looked around and that kind of thing, and then just kind of went away, and then he passed away. So, but I got interested in Heritage Academy, and we worked out something for Halton School to give them a proper school. Because I think it's the best historic preservation there is, taking something that was a school and making it into a school. Garrett Montgomery would agree with that. But anyway, so we built out the first floor. I was excited. They built out, then later on they built out the second floor. And I said, this is for sure a winner. So longer story shorter, a good friend of my dad's, crony friend of my dad's, that's you, Robert. But he was generous in his soul. And anyway, he died of cancer a couple years ago. His girlfriend, fiance, is here. His assistant for lots of years, works with me now. Anyway, so I told Roger about it. He didn't want to go on a site tour or anything like that. His attention span is about a minute. And anyway, he developed throat cancer. And I said, Roger, yes, well, he said, no, we don't get on that. And I said, well, we got to get on that. And finally, we got him to sign the will. And he said, you just do whatever you want. It's fine with me. And I said, well, what I want is to do something for Heritage, for kids. He liked that. He had supported the Children's Hospital with MCG earlier. He liked kids. He was an interesting guy, very smart, entrepreneurial, had no money when he got started, totally self-made man. I thought he was a foster child. I just always thought he was a foster child. But it turned out he did indeed have a family in Lexington, South Carolina. We've not ever been able to contact any of them. I don't know if any are alive or not. And so anyway, he wanted to, said, get back, just get back. So I said, no problem, that makes it easy. So anyway, so he passed away. We worked on his estate for a while and figured out what money we would have left over. And so then, I don't remember whether Will Mars called me first or Linda. We're talking about this campaign, but I said, well, I'm glad you called because I wanted to talk to you about your campaign. Anyway, Will came down one day to my office and he said, we're going to do this thing over here. And I was familiar with it, but anyway, long story again, shorter hopefully, is he said, I said, how much did you raise? He said, 600,000. What's the capital campaign? 5 million. To do all of this, 5 million. I said, good. I got 4.4 million for you. On the stipulation that you raise 2 million on endowment, and then to ensure we keep this going on forever. And then we did an instant program, I think, too, gave Augusta Prep $1 million set up scholarships specifically for heritage kids. So they have a pathway, or whatever you said a second ago. You know, they go to magnet school, they go wherever they want to go, but this is a way for them to come from this good environment to a good environment. I see that master here, Derek Willard. Anyway, so that's a very important, and that's an important aspect of this whole campaign. Anyway, we're very lucky to be in this position. I hope there's more to come. For both prep and for heritage, they're two premier institutions in Augusta, and I'm just excited to be a small part and involved in this project. And I appreciate all of y'all being here on this beautiful day. Thank you.
So before we have what we're supposed to do today, I just wanted to present something to Clay. One of the, there's an inscription on here, and I mentioned it at a reception we had just recently, that one of the very first times I met Clay, and it was right outside the Houghton School. It was December 23rd, and it was cold and dreary. And it was when he first pitched the idea that heritage needed to be in that building. And I said to him, now, let me tell you that we had 40 children at the time, and our budget was $200,000. And I come to this profession by stumbling in, not by training or any prior experience. And I said, how much will that cost, Mr. Boardman? I did not at that time know it well enough to say. And he said, oh, $5 million. And I nearly fell down. And he said, but no, the community believes in you. And he was almost right to between the actual dollars spent and the in-kind gifts. But here's what he said. And I mentioned this in the previous engagement. As educators, our craft is words, right? We spill them out by the thousands. And sometimes we take care to do it, and sometimes we don't. But I wonder if businessmen understand that they are saying things that find fertile ground. And this comment. He said, it's always easy to say no. It's really hard to say yes. And really, since that day, we've been saying yes, and he's joined us in saying, as have so many of you. Thank you for saying yes to the Early Learning Academy. We are so grateful. This, by the way, when you get to go inside, that's been renovated. This is the new post. This is, and Ben will do whatever you want on the backside, but this is the hang. And now for the groundbreaking ceremony. I tapped you to be up here. Would you please come on up? So Nick and Eric, Nick Dickinson Architects are and Finn, we're already up here, and Jeff, and let's see. Yeah. Am I missing anybody? Oh, let me see. Am I missing anybody? You got that?
Yep. So we're all going to take a couple of photos here real fast. Just everybody looking towards the cameras, big smiles with your eyes. And all right. And then go ahead and try to get as much of the shovel into the ground as possible by putting your foot into it if you can. I know it's a little difficult. So, and then what we're going to do now is go ahead and lift that dirt up for what you can grab. All right. And a couple more shots. And then we're going to throw it forward in 3, 2, 1. Toss it.
let me invite all of you to join us in the house. Go on a tour. It's been renovated 1891.